So this is it. This is the home of my new LAUSAINT 10 by 13 foot khaki gazebo, which should look beautiful here. I'm not gonna waste your time. I'm gonna start rolling that time lapse so that you could quickly see what's involved in putting this together. Then I'll come back after doing that and I'll talk to you about the quality of its construction, instructions, how it was to put together, whether I could do it by myself, all that kind of stuff. You're gonna get to see it in super speed, but I'll come back and talk to you in detail about it. Some of the basic info about this gazebo that you want to know. It is 10 foot by 13 foot. They say it's heavy duty and it does include double roofs, so that ventilation is really nice. It has mosquito nets and privacy screens. You could use it for your backyard. I guess you could use it with your RV. Anywhere you wanted that you wanted a little bit extra private space that you're protected from the elements. I think it'd be cool for that. Hey, let's go hear my review. Wow, that was a big project, I guess, and then it's also a story of two worlds, and it is so hot out here and so sunny. I'm so sweaty. Welcome to Southern Florida in the summer, so I'm happy I'm so far away from the camera. But let's talk about this so that you understand what's involved. Plus, if you wait till the end of this, I'm gonna have a little local tip, at least what I use to keep this here when we have those crazy Southern Florida storms. But I think I'm going to start with the end, which is overall for the value that this is a no-brainer 5 out of 5. Really outstanding. Some of the stuff and some of the little bit of complaints I'm going to have is due to over-engineering, and it's built so nicely, but that requires a lot of parts and a lot of work. So let's talk about the positives and a little bit of the negatives. So in terms of the positives, I love the size. This is a great functional size. We have very large furniture and it all fits under here nicely. The size is great. I actually, you'll see, I did a little video of the roof. So I also just wanted to point out, this is a very thin, very fabricy material. So while it is shaded, right? It is also very illuminated. So if you wanted like a real true shade, I think I'd go with a darker color or something like that. If you want a little more light, kind of like the way this looks, a little more light in here, this top is perfect for that. I'm sure it is completely 175% not waterproof or water resistant in any way. It's just a fabric which works. It looks beautiful on there, but I'm just bringing you all the info. It lets a lot of light through, which for me is I'm a fan. You know, it's not like you're gonna get sunburn in here, but at the same time, it's kind of bright and airy, and I do like that. If you want a little darker of a arrangement, I'd say go with the darker fabric. I've put a lot of these together, and I have to say I was a little bit dreading the last corner. It has a zipper on it, and sometimes they make the metal pieces adjustable and you then slide it in and it pulls it all taut. But this was like one of those, you have to pull it over the end, and then there was a zipper, and I was thinking that wasn't gonna go well, but it was a really good design. That was a great thought. It was very easy to put the top on that way. It is a little difficult that the way it's built, and these vertical beams are solid pieces, which is a really nice thing, except it means you have to put the roof on while it's all the way up in the air. Not a big problem, but you're gonna have to work on a ladder a little bit if you wanna put this together. Here are my two main complaints, and they are going to sound like nitpicky, and that's probably a good thing in terms of the overall quality. But number one, especially on the first half of this project, there are so many stickers on so many parts that you have to pull off. It's like you're constantly sitting there trying to scratch these stickers off. I honestly don't pretend to have a better way to do it, but it is really very annoying when you're in the process. And at the same time, there are 20,000 small parts that you have to put together. Like it is. The first half of the instructions is so slow. It takes so long to put all the different rails on, which is really nice, right? Because now I have separate rails for the shade walls and another set of separate rails, completely separate for the bug enclosure, which I don't have on it here. I'm obviously inside a cage here in Florida. I don't need it, but there's a whole set of screens and a whole separate set of rails for them. The two don't interact with each other. It's a really nice design, but there are a whole lot of parts required to put it together. It's not hard, but it's just a volume of stuff that you have to put together. Once you get that all together and your frame's starting to come together, the rest of it just flies. It's really easy. Actually, even speaking of the numbers on the top here, They were really smart. The numbers are all in places where when you put pieces together, they're hidden, so you don't have to pull them all off. But the first part, where there are 50,000 more parts and numbers, the numbers are everywhere. It's really crazy annoying. But again, it's crazy annoying because you get this amazing, beautiful thing at a very value-priced point. I'm going to include a couple clips here of problem areas I had. All right, so I thought I'd do it from this angle because it's easier to see this way. There is an absolute ton of unfinished thread everywhere that needs to be pulled off these things. It's going to be quite a little bit of a job to get these things actually clean and looking normal. But again, not the end of the world, kind of a little bit what you pay for. And obviously they don't want to put the time in to have their staff actually clean these up, so we're going to have to do it. Another quick review, just wanted to share these parts where they're a little unpainted, unfinished. And also, I don't know if you can see this, I think you can. The seam stitching is also very unfinished looking. The seam seems fine, right? The sewing itself seems fine. They just seem very lazy or quick to finish and be like, okay, send it out the door. The other thing which is super ugly, and I don't know why stitch these numbers on here, right? These aren't like easily removable. They're not perforated or something. So everywhere you look on the inside, somewhere, I think that's just like, you know, a little lazy. They could have done that with the sticker or something. Not there probably is a reason why they did it, but I don't want to look at it here on the nice inside of the awning, which is actually very nice in here. Let me put the camera down and let's talk about this thing in total. So that's the whole thing on the construction, the quality, that kind of stuff. You want that tip on what I do here in Southern Florida to keep this both here during storms and from staining the pavers during storms. Let me show you that. So this is my basic life and regular storm protection system. Obviously, if there's a hurricane, you got to get really gorilla on this kind of stuff. But no matter what happens, no matter how nicely painted that piece of metal is, eventually it is going to rust and stain the pavers. So I just take a piece of plastic, cut it to size, put it under there. It's now less likely to rust, and if it's going to rust, it's not going to etch into the paver. All right. So now how do we keep it here during those thunderstorms? This is how. These are great. They are just basically bags which are filled with water. Obviously, the water is nice and easy to deal with. You can control how much weight in it you have or not, depending upon your needs. Simply wrap it around the base with this Velcro strap. I do it for all 4 legs. And honestly, watch this. It's pretty much covered up. That's going to keep this nice and stable in your basic thunderstorm storms. Obviously, if we're having a hurricane or a real serious storm, you got to do a little more work. But that's my personal trick for you today. Actually, 2 tricks. Hope that was helpful. We'll see you next time.